All right, it's Chris Nunn, Seven Sounds Productions. This video is about EQing um, in this series Mixing 101. So this song has already been mixed and released. So a lot of stuff's done, but I'm just giving examples of things that you can do. So most digital audio workstations come with onboard EQ sections, and Cubase does. So here's what it looks like. So this is my kick drum, and um, when you EQ things like this, especially when you're dealing with a kick drum, bass instruments with low frequencies, you got to kind of remember and measure and kind of compare the frequencies that are the main frequency for each track, and because you don't want them all sharing. So you do a technique called feathering that helps alleviate that. Excuse me. So for the kick, I wanted its main attributes. I thought that sounded good. Were living in the 100. Well, I guess this is I guess 60 or 70 hertz range. What's this? Number 74 hertz range, right? And then I got this other, so the more punchier paper sound, or the sound of um, the kick mallet hitting the drum part. I can't remember their actual name for that, but like if this was an actual drum set, it's probably a sampled kick drum from a drum set. It's been processed, but there are attributes that I thought sounded good. There are attributes that are less important, and you have to make those kinds of choices. So EQing comes down to making choices of what's priority and what you want to stand out, because this sound overlaid with, I guess, the guitars and some of the synths, there are frequencies that they share, and you get masking, which is like something will get canceled out, or it'll sound really muddy and you can't really distinguish one instrument from another. Or so this technique, as you see, it's kind of curved up. So I said, hey, I like this and this to be the main ones, and then I'll kind of like just, everything else of the vocals live around here, and some of the other instruments live around here and here. So, now in theory, you can just cut it all out, but sometimes if you cut too much of the highs out, it just sounds too generic, and I don't like that. So you have to really listen to see what sounds good, while at the same time cutting those frequencies to give room for the other tracks in the song. So you have that. Um, Same thing with the snare, hi-hats. So low cut. There are some low end that if you're playing the drum set by itself or playing the hi-hats by themselves, it'll sound cool in there, I think. But with the overall mix, you don't need that there, because you wouldn't hear it anyways as well, and there's other instruments living there. So let's look at the vocals. Oops. What does this do? Okay. So yeah, like I said, the vocals live around here, 2K range. This particular piece is very calm, so I cut a lot of the high end, a lot of the low end out. Don't need it. It sounds good by itself, and it had a little bass rumble in there, but in the midst of the mix, it's gonna cause issues. So just cut things that you don't need, and use your ears. Look at your user graphs to help you get an idea of what you're doing, but then use your ears to see what sounds best. So another thing about EQ is, aside from the onboard things that EQs that your DAW will come with, there's also EQs are a third party, and so for instance, for Keith's guitar, I threw on a SSL E channel, and mainly for some flavor. But I did do some tweaking in the low mid range. So yeah, so once you start using those kind of EQs, just remember that you're starting to tax the CPU if you, or you will start to tax the CPU if you have tons of plugins on individual channels. So, but we'll cover that later. So yeah, we have that SSL EQ, and what else? Did I use another one? Let's see. Another thing that does play into EQ is filtering. So we're talking about cutting filters, and I use this as a special effect on this vocal track right here. Here's another one. So let's turn these on, because each video I'll start turning different things on to kind of give an example. And you'll probably see some of these things move in different videos. So, all right, here we go. EQ.